Lyrical? Or what? Direct? Okay na? Start na? Okay. This is what really happened to Monday. Who knew that it'd be your last week inside those blue rooms, old chairs and familiar smell? Who knew that after celebrating victorious events during Sangka to LCO days, we ended up grieving going back to where we grew up? Who knew that after a long week of exams, it'd be your last actual goodbye? Who knew that solitude and 6 feet apart are no longer a choice but a way to save lives? March 16, 2020, Monday, when the executive government decided to close down and redecorate its walls, waking up, reminding ourselves that we are no longer dreaming, that covering our expressions, staying apart and grieving is the new normal in the midst of disbelieving. That Monday said, I'm ripping away the life you knew, answering like a lion and roaring through the rest of the year or two. We held fast against furious winds, losing and gaining friends, neighbors and colleagues. Days turned into long year of data and doubt, stats and stubbornness, work and worry, yes and guilt and grief and pride climbing through us like vines or veins. It's interesting that the things we cherish the most are the same things we walk right by. There's a saying that you don't really know what you have until it's gone. Sometimes it takes the most abrasive reminders, the harshest of times, to help us recapture that perspective, to lift us up and show us what we had previously failed to see. And while our darkest moments test our strength, they push our boundaries, even transform our reality. They can also be a bridge that leads us to exactly where we need to be. They remind us that sometimes it's not about how we spent our time, but who we spent it with. What happened since that Monday reminds us that humanity is bigger than the sum of its part, and it takes just as much energy to build up as it does to tear down. It reminds us that where we live, what we speak, or who we pray to, we're not so different at all. It reminds us that there is so much good in the world than evil, so much more love than hate, and so much promise for the future. April 26, 2021. Monday. Just the right time to enjoy a bit of freedom. We remember we were there. We begin to yield to the hope of brighter days, ignoring just for a moment the sirens in the distance and the discarded mass shuffling along the empty streets. We know it's okay to take a moment to be silent, to remember, to know that we are resilient even as we stand over the stress of online class, the pressure casted by our parents, the anxiety every night over the heartbreaking loss and the breathtaking recovery. We marched, we prayed, we gave, we loved through a year that lasted so long. It's still here. We are still here. But we are much stronger, braver, because we are not alone. We work together, we paddle together, and we win this fight together. Someday, we'll look back on this moment with the lessons we've learned, the hardships we've faced, and we will be reminded of the miracle that is the human spirit of camaraderie and faith, unwavering in its resolve, unbreakable in its foundation, stronger than we could ever comprehend. See, sometimes it's hard to look around and find reasons to be optimistic, to understand, or to comprehend why. But what we'll find if we look hard enough, immersed into uncertainties, disruptions, and in some cases the tragedies, there's something to be gained. A tiny candle flickering in the night will eventually become the light of the boat that we are in towards the endless journey. There are pages unwritten, untold stories, and a new chapter to begin. What happened to Monday was a reminder for us to keep moving forward and value the lessons we've learned. This has been James Sponsor from the College of Education, Bachelor of Secondary Education Science Program, saying, if we paddle together, we heal together.